Hello and welcome to another video. So this time I'll be trying something new, so I'm on my own, and I appreciate your feedback, guys. Let me know if this is something you'd like to see more of in the future in this style or not. Let's go. So 2024 was definitely one of the busiest K-pop years in recent memory, with various happenings and shocking news all throughout this year. It was truly a messy year. I can't even begin to describe it, but actually I'll be going through this. So in this video I will be summarizing some of the biggest and most shocking bad things that happened in the K-pop industry in 2024. So an initial notice, this video will only include negative news, as you can probably tell from the title. I have no idea how long this video will be because I am now recording it, and there is a lot, and I mean a lot to get through. Just to note, it will not be a detailed report, guys, on each thing that happened this year. It will be sort of summary of what went wrong in 2024 in the K-pop industry. So I will go through these by date, and I'll be starting from January, and I'll be going until December 2024. In January of 2024, Hyuna came out with a huge shock to her fans. She announced that she and Young Junhyung have been dating. The announcement was met with severe backlash, and many of her fans began turning on her. Then in the mid of 2024, she'd announced their plans to get married, causing even more shock. Young Junhyung would go on to issue a letter denying he was part of the Golden Phone chat room to calm down fans because people kept bringing it up, but this did little to make things better. In perspective, the couple would go on to get married in October of 2024. Their wedding was also poorly received by fans, with many netizens also criticizing any idols who attended it. And in what would become one of the most ridiculous reasons a K-pop idol was criticized, Yoonji's Minji ended up apologizing, and get this, for not knowing a Korean dish. Yes, you heard me right. She had to apologize because she wasn't familiar with a Korean dish, and this was apparently like some big news in Korea when it happened. And we have Haechan getting caught for smoking indoors. He was reported by a netizen for what he did, and he ended up paying a fine, and SM also apologized, saying he didn't mean it, he will do better next time. And EXO, Baekhyun, Shen, and Xiumin officially leave SM and join a new label established by Baekhyun himself. And while this would likely have been on another separate happier video, guys, things just went sour from here. It started when it was revealed that Baekhyun's agency is now a subsidiary of 100 million, despite previous denial. This brought backlash from K netizens. Ultimately, CBX ended up issuing a lawsuit against several SM executives, making the situation even more complicated. Like I said, this is only a summary, I'll not be getting into the details. And Islet ended up losing a member ahead of their highly anticipated massive debut in 2024. The news caused massive shock to everyone who was a fan of the original lineup. What could possibly be labeled one of the most ridiculous things that happened this year, Lee Jae-wook and Karina confirmed their dating. But that's not really what's ridiculous, guys. Ridiculous was some of the aespa fans' reactions to this dating news. Lee Jae-wook would end up receiving severely harsh comments to this about his looks, and he ended up suing these people due to the intense backlash. Karina even apologized in a letter to fans, confirming she's indeed dating the actor, but sadly the couple would break up not too long after. And in a shocking move, they even said in their statement that they broke up due to the intense backlash from fans, which, if you've been a fan of K-pop for some time, you know that they usually never ever say this. And in February, one of the most probably the funniest things you'll see on this video, and also it was bad. In February, we had this shocking thing happened in the Hanteo Music Awards. So it was reported that a fan had shit themselves. This caused discomfort among attendees and even prompted some K-pop idols to gag on stage due to the horrible smell. Videos and photos from this that happened just went insanely viral, and I shouldn't be laughing, but it's probably the funniest thing on this list. And we have Zero Base One member Kim Ji-won getting accused of cursing during a fan call. He was reportedly caught saying the word fuck during a live broadcast with a fan. However, the agency would deny that heavily and then conduct forensic science, whatever that was, to prove that it didn't happen, and the issue is settled there. Sadly, we have the famous producer Shin Sadong-daeker passing away, which caused a huge shock among the K-pop industry and fans. He was a renowned composer, and he made several hits for Tiara, for Aping, for XID, and for Momoland as well. And Hyolyn received backlash for mouthing the N-word in another video of a K-pop idol getting into trouble for this. She ended up issuing an apology to the fans. Former Tiara member Arum would attempt suicide this year due to the various allegations around her. Her case is very complicated, guys, and she was embroiled in fraud charges. So it's very, very complicated. I'm likely not going to speak about it more on this video, but if you want a separate video to dive deep into her case, the situation with her boyfriend and fans, let me know. Just know that she survived the attempt. And we have Jun Ju-young sadly and shockingly getting released from prison to the dismay of everyone and their grandma. He currently roams the street free. And BTS gets embroiled in cult association rumors. The cult is allegedly called Downward Cult, and HYBE ultimately ends up denying the rumors. They sue the malicious commenters, and this was revealed amid the intense legal battle between Min Hye-jin and New as HYBE, as many past things associated with Big Hit, Ban Shi-hyuk, and the agency got re-released to the public, causing severe issues for HYBE. Just realistically speaking, the agency that got the most backlash this year by far was HYBE. They were taking L after L after L in 2024. It was probably the worst year on record in terms of PR for HYBE. And we have a girl group member named Haru from Nature revealed to be working at a hostess bar. While this alone does not really warrant a spot on this video, sadly the agency ended up announcing the group's entire disbandment very shortly after this piece of information was made public. Min Hye-jin holds a infamous press conference, and HYBE attempts to ignore it. It backfires spectacularly, and they respond with a massive lengthy post alleging she attempted to do a takeover of Adore. This is the most intense news cycle in the entirety of 2024, and I tried in this video to include the important tidbits, but these people, Min Hye-jin and HYBE, go back and forth so many times. It's honestly just dizzying, and it became annoying shortly after. It doesn't stop, guys. We will be talking about HYBE and Min Hye-jin throughout this entire video. To add to the ridiculousness of the already very ridiculous thing, HYBE says that Min Hye-jin was consulting a shaman on every single move, adding to the ridiculous battle between the two. And sadly, we have beloved singer Park Bo-ram suddenly passing away at the age of 30 years old, and it was later revealed that it was a acute alcohol poisoning. The Seraphim performed at Coachella in 2024 and received immense backlash for the bad vocals. It was so bad that Sakura revealed in an interview later this year that she now has fear of publicly singing. Yes, she has fear, guys. And this particular point, because of what happened with LE SSERAFIM and Coachella, this topic of K-pop idols singing live, the qualifications, what makes a good performer, this was one of the biggest topics that K-pop idols and K-pop fans also were discussing this year. And we have Cannes Film Festival racist treatment of Hyuna going viral when a female security guard was seen being just completely horrible and racist towards our beloved Hyuna. And due to the ongoing situation with various groups' live vocals being re-examined, as we said before, NMIXS suffer a viral sound fail during stage. But in a shocking twist, JYP admits to fabricating that entire event, gaining immense backlash from NMIXS fans, who would go on to say, why would you even admit to this to begin with? And in a shocking development, as it's something that came out of nowhere, we find out that Connect Entertainment artists all collectively have left their agency, and Kang Daniel has initiated legal action against its major shareholder. So Kang Daniel's side says they're filing a lawsuit over several issues, including forgery and use of private documents, embezzlement charges, breach of trust, and more and more. So ultimately, later throughout this year, you will find out that the label completely shut down. And in an update on the EXO situation we talked about in Ariel in the video, we have EXO's alleged comeback plans getting scrapped, with both parties, SM and EXO CBX, ended up suing each other back and forth, stating that this will become a very daunting legal battle that will take years to settle. So this started with SM announcing their plans to sue for contract fulfillment. EXO CBX also then countersued and then promised to expose them in court, and also issued apologies to fans because this rubbed many K netizens the wrong way, which is an entire topic on its own. If you want me to get into that, let me know. I will make a video if you guys request it a lot. And one of the most promising K-pop girl groups in history, Wikimiki, announces disbandment, and they release one last song as a group. And then we have in one of the most shocking news of 2024, XID's Hani's fiance's patient death news goes viral. It causes so much backlash, not only to him but oddly to her. It forces her into a hiatus and she even exit programs. The couple had initially planned to get married in late 2024, so they end up delaying that entire thing. And it's been a very sad situation that happened with the patient sadly passing away. And we have Bam Bam posting several concerning messages online, causing panic among his fans. This wasn't the only time it happened this year, which caused fans to worry even more, including me, guys. This led to even GOT7 members to come out and show support and love for Bam Bam on social media. Since GOT7 is making a comeback, we hope that Bam Bam is in a better headspace right now. And then we have a ridiculous situation happening with Red Velvet Silgi, as some netizens accuse her of a power trip because, take a guess why this happened, because she was wearing sneakers that her manager had worn. This led to accusations of mistreatment of the said manager. Silgi then ends up apologizing and explaining the situation to fans. Overall, it was a very ridiculous thing. And then we have Jenny getting caught vaping inside while getting her makeup, and then she issues an apology to the fans. And we have a hero French woman who warned others about Jung Jun-young because she spotted him in a club in France. She said to be careful of him and noted that he was having fun in the clubs. And one of the most concerning issues that happened in K-pop as a whole was the K-pop deepfakes issue in 2024. Several top artists were massively hurt by it. The story, which was labeled one of the most shocking news of K-pop in 2024. Taeil suddenly gets kicked out of NCT, so SM issues a statement out of the blue, just nothing went wrong, nothing was going wrong according to the fans at the time. So SM says he's leaving NCT all of a sudden. And people know him as like the quiet guy in the NCT units, so they're really just like awed out by what's going on. And then we find out that there were rape allegations made against him, which came as a massive surprise to all of us. Police ends up confirming he's being investigated for it actually, and then SM gets accused of trying to cover up the situation. Of course, SM issues a statement denying they have ever attempted to do this, and they say since it's an ongoing investigation, you guys have to wait until a verdict is reached. Then Adore announces that Min Hye-jin has stepped down from the CEO position. Apparently, according to Min Hye-jin, she says she was kicked out. She did not agree to this. She also demands to get back, but as you know already, she never does. She tries to file a motion to enforce it, and it does not go through. So she would end up later on leaving her position in 2024 as director in Adore. Then another one of the biggest K-pop stories of 2024 was the deal with BTS Suga getting caught for drunk driving in a scooter. So he ends up issuing two apologies. The first one was poorly received, and he ends up issuing a second longer one. Like I told you guys, HYBE has taken a lot of L's when it comes to their PR teams because they have been criticized for several issues with their groups and the way they handle the issues from a PR perspective. So Big Hit initially issued a statement saying yes, BTS Suga had done DUI, but they would get heavily criticized for the language that they used, and some K netizens would go on to accuse them that they either were downplaying the situation or trying to lie about details. So they end up also issuing a second apology, same as Suga. Then JTBC inserts himself for some weird reason, and makes matter worse, they share a fake CCTV footage of the alleged situation. This leads to immense backlash against Suga. We then find out this was fake and not real, so JTBC is forced to issue an apology for the massive mistake. Next story is when we sadly found out that the famous Hallyu actor Jung Kyun-suk was diagnosed with cancer. So he released a video and he talked about situation. Turns out it happened around, I think, 2023. So luckily he is now fully recovered. And then we have one of the most hilarious situations of 2024, a photo or a video footage of Ban Shi-hyuk getting caught with a famous BJ became viral news. So BJ is short for broadcasting jockey, and he would go on to be heavily ridiculed for this photo. He would try to claim that he just saw her and they guided her through this place, and many people, many K netizens would make fun of him, and they even dressed up as him and her, parodying them on Halloween. New Jeans members decide to hold a live emergency broadcast and set a deadline to September 25. So Hype, as you'd expect, refuses to reinstate Min Hye-jin, which was one of their demands. Min Hye-jin rejects then a second offer, saying it does not make any sense, and demands to be reinstated as CEO. Next story is the sad divorce situation of Tiara's Jiyeon, who ultimately ends up filing for divorce from her husband. She also ends up hiring the same divorce lawyer, which is a woman who wrote the hit drama Good Partner. This drama aired earlier in 2024 and was a massive success. To give you a scope of just how big the former NCT member Taeil charges were, a lot of fans were just not aware of how drastic the situation was or what it was. And then, as if things couldn't be even more shocking to everybody in this situation, it was revealed that he was actually charged with quasi-rape. So he was charged of aggravated sexual assault, and according to a report by the police, Taeil and two acquaintances were accused of sexual assaulting an intoxicated woman in June. There were many reports about the woman and such things as that. I will not get into this because there are reports and not confirmed as of this video. And in what would become probably one of the top 5 biggest K-pop shocking situations of 2024 was the way SM handled, or I better rephrase this, mishandled Sunghan and Rai's situation. This started off nicely and then ended in disaster. So let's go through the mess. This started on October 11. SM would announce in a good surprising statement that he's coming back to the group. So international fans were really happy about it. He ends up issuing an apology letter, promises to do better, and all of that jazz. Fellow members also attempt to calm down the public with their own statements on the situation. However, things would go downhill from there to a ridiculous level. So as time went on, Korean fans became more aggressive and heavily opposed his return to the group. So they did a very horrible thing and sent around, and I kid you not guys, around 1,000 death flower wreaths to SM building, and these wreaths had messages asking for Sunghan's departure. So SM caves in only 2 days later, and they announced that he is now leaving Rise but will stay with the agency. As you can imagine, international fans were furious, and I mean furious. They would go on to boycott the group, cancel their orders, petition to have him back, and so much more. And then in a very late announcements, SM says they're suing malicious comments for what they said about Sunghan, but when the dust has settled and the majority of the comments generally cooled down because he left. So as you can imagine, international fans were made even more furious with this announcement. Baekhyun had a difficult year in 2024, and it started when she was accusing the Love Next Door OST composer of plagiarizing one of her songs. So initially it would go for her, they took her side, people took her side, but later the composer of the OST himself came out to defend himself and then explained in many details just why and how they're so different. This resulted in the singer receiving backlash for airing out this publicly without even talking to the composer privately first. But this is not where the story ends. To make matters worse for her ex-boyfriend, a singer and songwriter named Cloud, alleged she mistreated him in a lengthy statement revealing exactly what she used to do and how she used to do it. And he also reveals he's suing her label for unauthorized use of his copyrighted material. And in another update from SM in October, they announced that Taeil's contract with them has also been officially terminated, which means they're cutting him off completely. Initially, many wondered why they didn't also kick him out of the group when they shared the news initially. Regardless, now it seems that Taeil is no longer in the industry as a whole. Our next story is a shocking one that I don't think anybody would have thought would happen. It's a story of a manager from an agency called Big Planet Made Entertainment. This manager used celebrity contact information that they had stored on their phone as collateral for illegal loans. So what happened was the manager was doing that thing. So suddenly loan sharks, similar to what you see in K-dramas, came contacting the agencies and asking for payments. So the agency thought this initially was not a big deal. Then as time went on and the calls became more severe, they realized what had happened. So the phone numbers were passed on to loan companies totaling over 1,200 times, and this included not only the contact of Big Planet Made employees, affiliated celebrities, and individuals from the manager previous employers as well. So even the people the manager had worked with prior to working with this agency were also on receiving end of this situation. So this include entertainment companies and broadcasters as well. So this agency is the same one behind Taemin, Vivid, Lee Seung-gi, and many more. And as you expect, they're suing. We're yet to get an update about how that is going. Our next story, building up on what some horrible K-pop fans did to Sunghan, some of BTS fans thought it was also a good idea to copy them and to send flower wreaths to Hybe's building, asking for Suga's withdrawal from BTS over the DUI. Big Hit would never end up responding to the complaints, and it will eventually just sort of go away. And then in what possibly could be labeled as the only thing that reunited the K-pop fandoms, Hybe. Unironically, it was Hybe, a company that ended up reuniting all of us, all of the K-pop fandoms, when it was revealed that they had internal documents that were just simply put horrible, and these documents got leaked. So how it began is very interesting. This began during a final session of the 2024 National Assembly audit. This is in the cultural and tourism and whatnot field, and the CEO of Hybe and the CEO of Bailiff Lab showed up to this audit to be basically questioned regarding New Jeans Honey and many other things. So they were getting grilled there, being scolded for what was happening, and then one of the assemblymen reveals the existence of the document. So they tried to say that it was compiled from comments from the web, but that of course did not fly. This report got into depth about all K-pop groups you could imagine. Any relevant K-pop group, it was on that report. And when I tell you, no one was spared. The report contained horrible remarks about girl groups, boy groups, and Hybe-owned groups. Not even BTS members were spared. No one was spared, like I said before. And it's not even over there. So Hybe initially tries to go on the offense and say that the leak happened and it will not be tolerated because they were internal private documents. This goes about down as well as you'd expect. So after even more parts and papers from the documents get leaked to several news outlets, Hybe confirms the existence of the document. They apologize for it and they try to pin the blame on only one person, which didn't make sense because according to the documents, it is reported that many people were working on it and not only one person. This backfires on them spectacularly as you'd expect. In short, in late October, when it began getting leaked, the situation was the talk of town for about a couple of weeks because media outlets, Korean media outlets, didn't stop leaking it. They were leaking many different ones, not only one media outlet, several ones, and they were leaking from all directions, and the comments were simply horrendous. Our next story is about Jessie and what could be her most challenging year as a celebrity. One fan claims that Jessie's entourage assaulted him because he asked for a photo. So this leads to immense backlash against Jessie, even though she couldn't have defended the fan as CCTV footage would go on to show. Jessie ends up issuing not one but two apologies asking for forgiveness, and she would go on to be questioned by police for allegedly harboring a criminal, which is the man who assaulted the fan. On the 7th of November, police would state that they found insufficient evidence to support the charges made against Jessie initially, and she was not forwarded to the prosecution. In tangent with that, she ends up leaving her agency because of this entire situation. Next is one of the top most shocking stories of 2024 in K-pop. We are now talking about Yulhee and Minhwan. So Yulhee, which is a former K-pop idol and the wife of FT Island Minhwan, exposed him in a 30-minute video. She alleges he frequented entertainment establishment and even sexually harassed her in front of her parents. And she backs it up with alleged audio files of him talking to someone about this, allegedly. So this alone deserves a video because it is a really deep topic. If you want a deep dive on that, let me know. Minhwan ends up halting all of his activities, and Honki takes it upon himself to ruin his image, saying that we shouldn't be too quick to judge. He doubles down, but Minhwan is put on hiatus as police began investigating him. Our next story is the Tiara case being reopened, the bullying case, and Hwayoung then claims she was the one bullied and verbally assaulted by the members. Why did this restart after 12 years, you ask? Well, this happened because the MBK Entertainment CEO revisited the incident in an interview on TV and made the situation all just so much worse on so many levels. And then we have the next story, one of Korea's biggest trot sinkers, Kim Ho-jung, who caused a controversy with his drunk hit-and-run driving. He was ultimately received a prison sentence for what he did. He had a massive fall from grace. And then, as if matters couldn't get worse for Adore gets sent a certification notice by the New Jeans member, and they reacted about as badly as you'd expect, and they said that the contracts are enforceable, but New Jeans allege otherwise. Our next story is surprising news. We find out that veteran K-pop idol Junsu was revealed to have been blackmailed by a streamer for over $500,000. Literally $500,000. You heard me right. Apparently, this woman began threatening to release some intimate audios recorded of him and such. So this thing has been ongoing for like 4 years when it was revealed. She started blackmailing him in 2020 and he has been paying her money. So now he's suing her for what she's been doing to him basically. And in what continues to be described as SM worst PR thingy of 2024 to calm down international fans because they have been relentlessly after SM for what they did to Rise and to Sunghan, the agency abruptly announces that Sunghan, formerly of Rise, is making his solo debut. But here's the thing, he's making his solo debut in the latter half of 2025, so this is like a year from the time that they published the statement, and which is also like not what anyone had been asking for. International fans had wanted him back in the group, not to make his own solo debut simply because he got kicked out because he was living his life before he became a K-pop idol. So of course SM received backlash for this. And our next story is about a horrible episode of Sasang's behavior. We find out that one Sasang had attacked Sunwoo from the boys in his dorm area. I mean, you really can't make this shit up. The Sesang attacked them in the dorm area, and the agency announced some severe strict legal action against this. So let's hope this goes somewhere. And despite the very difficult year New Jeans has been going through, they do keep fulfilling their schedules under what was Adore, and in an award speech they allude to them not being able to use their name anymore, which is truly a shame, guys. They would go on to not even be referred to by names in upcoming content for the rest of 2024. And in tangent with that, we have Min Hye-jin saying she is officially leaving Adore and Hype and is set to take legal actions against Adore, against Hype, against Bailiff Laugh, and many others. But the Ministry of Culture decided that New Jeans' Honey work bullying case that she testified for does not really qualify as bullying. And can you guess why that doesn't qualify as bullying? Well, basically, and we quote, because she's not technically a worker. And in what jobless netizens did this year, we have Min Hye-jin somehow getting BTSV in trouble. Not Min Hye-jin herself, but the netizens who heard her saying that he sent her a happy birthday message. This led to some of them trying to spread rumors that he was somehow receiving favoritism, and in reference to this, BTSV would go on to cryptically post to Instagram. Our next story, in what could probably be labeled one of the most horrible horror stories to have come out of K-pop in 2024, was the case of a CEO of an agency allegedly sexually assaulting a member. The member alleges that she was caught with her BF, and the CEO tries to play with her and ask her to play or cosplay as his girlfriend for a day. And the agency, when they were exposed, they tried to spin this and say that the woman suggested she play the girlfriend thing, which is odd to say the least, despite audio recordings of the CEO telling her parents that he made a, and I quote, mistake. So what did they end up doing? The agency said that the member, which is from a group called Maiden, is now no longer part of the group. And in late 2024, New Jeans would hold another press conference announcing their departure from Adore officially, stating that they are done with the agency as of November 29. And we also find out that From Nine has left Pledis, which left the door open on what's next for the group, as Pledis continue to ignore the group's potential and basically sabotage their girl groups. This is not the first one and will likely not be the last one. And Loose Semble shocked all of us by announcing that they're leaving their agency after only 1 year of free debut, leaving their future in the group and as a group up in the air. In December, the bad girl group news don't stop. We find out that Signature has officially disbanded after only 4 years together. And then as K-pop groups and agencies continue to be ignorant, Muslim fans would notice that Kepler's Yujin was wearing a t-shirt with the word Allah on it for some reason, and the agency ends up apologizing. And in 2024, we find out that there is a documentary that is very important, and I would recommend you to watch it, but please be careful because there will be trigger warnings about this. This documentary, which was released by SBS, talks about A-list K-pop idols and the horrible standards that are set for weight loss. We find out that Hwasa has actually developed an eating disorder because of this situation. Many other K-pop idols also share their horrible experiences about this situation. And now we get to the story of, while technically it wasn't very K-pop, but K-pop related, the president of South Korea woke up and chose violence. For some reason, he declares martial law, causing chaos in the industry, and having everyone and their grandma wonder what he was thinking. So now all the K-pop idols and actors are told they should do no appearances, they should not travel, they should do no promotions, nothing, nada. Of course, this decision would ultimately get overthrown, but not without causing some serious disruption to the industry at large. Our next story is about MC Mong's label, who got into beef with another label over their artists, as they claim that the boys have lost the trademark to their name. So what happened was the boys' contract with IST Entertainment wrapped up, so they were moving to MC Mong's label, but then the label of MC Mong alleges that IST is not giving up the rights of the group name, but then IST says this did not happen. Eventually, both parties do end up settling this, giving the boys back their name. Next is the never-ending saga of Adore and New Jeans. Adore decides to file a countersuit against New Jeans to confirm how valid the contract is, and for some reason would go on to update about New Jeans on their own even when the group cut all contact with them. They would also claim this jeopardizes the entire industry for some reason. It's not ending soon, guys. To make matters worse, if it's confirmed New Jeans had violated the contract and terminated it illegally, it means that they could be forced to pay hundreds of millions of dollars, not $1, if they want to break free completely from Adore. Now, of course, New Jeans argues they don't have to pay shit, but we don't know yet just how true this will be, and the legal proceedings will begin soon, but as you'd expect, they would not be ending anytime soon unless the two parties settle out of court. Our next story is a shocking story from KG announcing departure from Vicha, and she sues JYP Entertainment alleging mistreatment and abuse. She also alleges that one member had attempted suicide, one member had an eating disorder, and even more shocking things that she had to endure with her group. Naturally, JYP denies everything and claims that her action harmed the group, and they actually say that unironically. So KJ says she has evidence of this and will fight them in court. And in what could only be labeled an odd move, some Day6 fans try to expel Dowon from the group. Why, you ask? Well, because he shared a photo of himself in military uniform while practicing drums on his social media. This happened around the same time that the martial law thingy was going on, so some started speculating he was supporting the president or whatnot. Of course, JYP says legal action is in progress and you're all tripping. And in an even worse thing happening, creating unnecessary issues, you have aespa's Winter and ENHYPEN Jungwoo dating rumor going viral. However, they get denied very quickly, with SM even exposing the person who was spreading the rumors. Jungwoo himself would go on to deny them too publicly. But for some reason, I don't know why, some Chinese fans thought it would be a lovely idea to send funeral flower wreaths to HYBE building, demanding his departure. Again, SM really screwed up with the way they handled Songhan's situation, leading to what will likely be even more funeral flower wreaths sent to buildings of agencies when the fans don't like something the idol did. Our next story is about Taeyeon calling out SM for the millionth time. This time it was related to their 30th anniversary concert. She says she is not attending because she has issues with the way they're planning the event. SM finally admits that she's not attending, even when Taeyeon has been saying that for some time. So SM did not immediately comment on what Taeyeon said, but they commented a while later saying she is not going to be performing at the concert. And Dispatch is back at it again with our next story, not exposing people for dating like normal people. They expose winner Mino for allegedly receiving favoritism during his alternative service in the military. So YJ attempts to address the situation, but it does not really go well for them. But the ministry ends up launching an investigation because of the several complaints that were made. His place, the place of work he was at, also got raided as a result. As you'd expect, because Koreans are very sensitive about military issues, the public backlash is very severe. Our next story is one that is weird. For some weird reason, Minhwan comes back after he was cleared from the allegations made against him by police investigation on the count that Chulhee refused to testify against him. He says that he was never involved in prostitution. After being cleared from the charges, he says that he went to motels and such, and I quote, to be alone. And when people pushed back against him, using his own voice recording against him, he says that he got a vasectomy, which is, I guess, I don't know, like a choice of words, I guess. And honestly, TMI. And in more sad news for New Jeans, we find out that New Jeans' Honey's visa is at stake, as it is set to expire because she's without contract with Adore. It won't be renewed based on that. Adore attempts to play nice and say that they're renewing it, but the thing is, the group is not really in the agency anymore, so I don't know how they would proceed with that. We're yet to see how this plays out. And JTBC strikes again in our next story, and in a bad way. We find out that the winning members of its audition program called Girls on Fire debut plans have been scrapped. The girls are not going to debut. And our next story is about William Entertainment ending the year on a high. Not a high meaning a good way, but a bad one. They announced that 5 Golden Child members have left their agency, and not only that, 4 members of Rocket Punch have also left the agency. So now we don't know what the future of either groups are, and it's not really looking particularly good. So I don't know how long I've been talking, guys, honestly. This was it for 2024. Maybe I will be splitting this video into 2 parts. Let's see how it goes. So if you've made it thus far, comment with a heart so I know I need to see something. I know I likely missed some stories, so let me know, guys, nicely in the comments. I tried my best, and I'm curious, what would you like to see another video of? And would you like to see a video of me going over the best things that happened in K-pop in 2024? This would be an interesting video because while I do think 2024 was not the best year for K-pop, I also think many nice things happened for K-pop fans, especially OG K-pop fans this year. So let me know if you'd like a video on that, and I'll see you next time.